Hi everyone, Greg here from the Laser channel where we learn, create, and share. And today I'm going to be making this huge stainless steel plaque. I'm going to be sharing with you all of my tips and tricks along with where I source the materials for today's project, especially the stainless steel blank. The plaque that I'll be making today is going to be comprised of two major components. The first one being this large, high-quality, solid walnut plaque. This is pre-stained and pre-finished, and what's really cool about this is when I flip it over to the back side, we're going to see there's two mounting options for hanging on a wall. The other major component is going to be this thick plate of stainless steel. This is 304 stainless steel, and in a little bit later on in the video, I'm going to talk about where I source all my materials for the laser channel. The machine that I'm going to be doing the engraving on is going to be a 70-watt CO2 laser, and of course we all know that a CO2 laser can't directly engrave stainless steel, so I'm going to be showing you a nice economical spray that I use to get beautiful jet black engraving. Next, let's head over to the computer and check out the graphic that I'll be using for today's project. I'll also be sharing the settings that I'll be using to get that beautiful jet engraving on this stainless steel. Just keep in mind that these are the settings that I'm using with my machine and my setup, but they'll provide a great starting point for you and your project. Here's the layout in Lightburn software. All the verbiage is client approved. And we'll see around the outside, I drew a box. This box is the size of that stainless steel plaque. This is going to help me with the alignment inside of the laser machine. When I double click on my engraving layer, we see all the settings that I'm using for my setup with my 70-watt CO2 laser. Next, I'm going to align the project material inside of the laser machine and set the focus. I'm doing this step now before I put the spray coating on the stainless steel because that spray coating is a little bit delicate and is easily disturbed. In just a minute, I'm going to head outside and put the spray coating on the stainless steel so that it will accept the engraving. The spray that I'm going to be using is dry Moly Lube from CRC. I've used this in the past and it works great, and it allows me to run the machine at some fairly fast speeds. Before I start spraying this onto the stainless steel, I do need to make sure that it is completely wiped down with something like denatured alcohol so that it is free of any foreign material, especially any fingerprints that might interfere with the engraving process. I have the first coat applied to my stainless steel plate. I'll eventually end up with 2 to 4 coats, making sure that it is evenly and solidly coated. While that's drying, it's going to be a great opportunity to bring up today's sponsor for the video, and that is Send Cut Send. This is my go-to vendor whenever I need metalwork for any of my projects. Today's project, that huge plate, is sourced by them. I also ordered 2 extra plates to do some practice engravings to make sure I've got the perfect settings for my client projects and projects just like this video. One of the really cool things about Send Cut Send is I can bring my own artwork in and send that to them and get an immediate instant quote. I can also design my own parts, such as if I've got this simple plate, I can draw this up in their interactive software, choose the material that I like. They have a full library of materials and different thicknesses. They can also round edges, deburr. They can even add bending and different coatings if needed. I'll have a link to them in the video description down below if you'd like to check them out in more detail and draw up some of your own parts for your own projects. After 3 even coats, I'm now ready to start the engraving. Here's what the plate looks like when it just comes out of the machine. If I hit the reflection just right, you'll be able to see some of the graphics and text. I'm going to go back outside and use some denatured alcohol and give this plaque a thorough washing. A quick cleanup, and this looks great. Look at how nice this turned out. I do recommend using some blue gloves during the cleanup process because it can get a little messy. Next up, let's get this mounted to that solid walnut plaque. I'm now ready to attach the stainless steel plate up to the walnut plaque. There's going to be 2 tips that I'm going to share with you that are going to make your life so much easier. The first tip is double-sided tape. I'll put some on the back side of the stainless steel plate. That will allow me to position that plate around on the walnut, and when it's in that perfect spot, I can apply some pressure to it, allowing me to easily transfer or mark out the 4 mounting holes to the walnut without fear of that plate shifting around. Now, speaking of those 4 mounting holes, when I go to drill the pilot holes for that to accept the screws, I'm going to use a special drill bit. This drill bit has a case around it, and the tip has a cone, so that will allow the drill bit to be perfectly centered for each of the 4 mounting holes. I'll finish all of this off with some stainless steel screws. The first thing that I'm going to do is make sure that I know what the top of this plaque is, and by that I mean I'm going to flip this over and make sure that one of the mounting slots is actually at the top. Once I know I've got that orientated correctly, I'm going to take that double-sided tape and put a little bit of that on the back side of the stainless steel plate. And one in the middle just for good measure. Here's what the bit looks like, and when you apply pressure on the tip, that reveals the drill bit to come out. Pretty neat tool. Going to do the first one, and right away I'm going to put that screw in, make sure that this corner doesn't shift around. Next, I'm going to go over to the opposite corner, making sure that everything is still perfectly squared up. Now I can get the last 2 corners. One of the finishing touches I like to do when utilizing mounting screws is I like to have the heads of the screws all turned to the same direction, whether that's straight up and down, or in this case, they're angled at a 45-degree angle. This is a really great project, and it's pretty fun to make, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time. The tools that I used are a lot of common tools that you may already have. And again, for the metal work, I sourced that from Send Cut Send. Check them out. They've got a huge variety of different basic pre-built patterns, or you can supply your own. And the materials, they've got well over 100 different types of materials that are sure to fit any project. I hope that you enjoyed this video and you learned something. If you did, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, or ring that notification bell. Not only is it a great way to help the laser channel grow, it's an awesome way to connect video content like this with other great viewers just like you. Well, until we meet again in the next video, learn, create, and share.